say that this bill, the bill that we passed today, I'm proud of that bill. I was honored to vote for it, and I would vote for it again. Let me just talk about a few folks from my district and what they said to me. Kristen from South Minneapolis says, "Dear Representative Ellison, I'm writing to ask you to support a strong version of the Credit Card Holders Bill of Rights. This bill includes important provisions for protecting consumers. The main problem is that H.R. 627, that's the Credit Card Holder Bill of Rights, won't be implemented quickly enough. We need protection from predatory credit card practices now. Predatory credit card practices drain hard-earned money from people like me who cannot afford these tricks and traps any longer. The credit card companies have been targeting me for no reason in the last 2 months. I have a good job and a decent credit score. Recently, I saw my APR go up because the banks are under financial strain. These are the same banks that receive billions of dollars in unregulated support from the U.S. taxpayers, and now they're taking it out on us." Annette, also from Minneapolis, my town. "I'm very concerned about rising interest rates by credit card companies. I worry that this will turn out to be the same as banking in the housing crisis." Mark from Northeast Minneapolis. "We are residents of Northeast Minneapolis. Due to our self-discipline, we have a top-tier credit rating. We recently received notification from Capital One that our credit card annual percentage rate would increase from a 9.9% fixed rate to a variable rate, which was 17.9% as of January 28th, 2009. We find this action reprehensible. It is contrary to the needs of taxpayers in this economic climate. We ask that you sponsor legislation which limits and regulates usury practices for all financial institutions." And I just want to say to Mark from Northeast Minneapolis, did it today, Mark. Thank you. Thank you. Eugene from South Minneapolis would like credit card reform passed immediately. There should be a limit set on interest rates in order to help consumers. Mr. Stein says he has never been late on a payment, but Citibank just raised his rate by 5% while they were getting bailout money. John from Minneapolis wonders why his rates on his Capital One card are increasing so much recently. They're almost doubling. Please support legislation to stop this type of lending. I'm just reading letters from my constituents. They're very concerned about this situation. They wanted somebody to do something about what they were going through in this tough economic climate. And so I'm just going to wrap up by saying that we have worked hard. We've gotten a lot of Republican votes on this legislation today. It was a bipartisan bill. I want to commend Democrats and Republicans for passing this bipartisan bill, which was passed with only 70 noes and 57 yeses. 357 yeses. And that means that it was bipartisan. That means that both sides saw that this was an important bill to pass. I want to say that I'm proud of groups like ACORN, yes, I like ACORN, AFL-CIO, Americans for Fairness in Lending, Capital Progress in Action, Center for Responsible Lending, Consumer Action, Consumer Federation of America, Consumers Union, DEMOS, Leadership Conference on Civil Rights, NAACP, National Association for Consumer Advocates, National Community Reinvestment Coalition, National Consumer Law, National Council of La Raza, National Small Business Association, let me repeat that one, National Small Business Association, Opportunity Finance Network, Public Citizen, Sergeant Stryver National Center for Poverty Law, Service Employees International, and U.S. Public Interest Research Group all wrote this really, really nice letter urging us to support this important legislation. Civil rights groups, small business groups, labor unions, people of all types, knowing full well that we've got to do something to rebalance the scales in this wonderful country of ours. That's why we have this Congress, so that representatives can come here and say we're going to set things aright. Now, I'm going to take a few more minutes before I wrap up, and I just want to say that this bill passed today, the Credit Card Holders Bill of Rights, is really simply a bill that signals greater change. In the near future, we will be taking up another important consumer justice piece of legislation. And this bill I'm referring to now is a bill that addresses this practice of predatory lending in the mortgage housing sector. This anti-predatory lending bill, which I am also a very proud author of, this bill is going to be up in a week from today, Madam Speaker. This bill, which we're going to get the chance to vote on in about a week, is a bill that has long time coming, and that if we'd have passed a bill like this years ago, as advocates were urging us to do, we may not be in the situation we're in today. I want to say that this important bill is going to be up next Thursday, and if people, Madam Speaker, want to weigh in on this bill, they should start doing so now if they have not already done so, because it's coming up soon. We want folks to know that Democrats and some Republicans care about the consumer, are not going to back down from fighting for the consumer, and are proud to be able to represent the American consumer. So with that, Madam Speaker, I'm just going to say it's an honor to come before you and the folks watching, and I just want to say, as we begin to wrap up, that the American consumer has been experiencing mounting debt. As we see the average household income, this is a flat line going straight across. See that flat line? It's just going flat. There's a few dips and a few dives and a few blips upward, but it's a flat line. What's not been flat? Non-revolving credit card debt has been going down here 30 grand all the way up here to the 110s. Revolving credit, also steady trend upward. Home equity loans going up. Mortgages going up. This accounts, the difference between this line and these up here explains why Americans got in such difficult, dire straits. And now is the time to start fixing it. We see two things happening that are very important for the American consumer. On the one hand, we see financial regulation. On the other hand, we see the American Economic Recovery and Reinvestment Act and put into our economy to reinvest in infrastructure, to invest in innovation, to invest in healthcare, to invest in a renewable economy, so that we can actually increase demand, increase jobs, increase tax revenues, and get ourselves out of the deficit. And we see ourselves plugging the holes that these credit card companies and other debt instruments have created for the American consumer. Help is not only on the way, help has arrived, and you see responsible legislation coming forward so that the American consumer and the American economy can fly high, high once again as it has in the past. Consumer justice is what we need. Consumer justice is what we're getting. Madam Speaker, it's been an honor to come before you, and I yield back.